you're sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. Altcoins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more sauce.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to DeltaFi on Hero Labs with your host, RT, going by RandomTask555 on Twitter. We've got Rob Levy here to my right, your left, and we've got Crypto Messiah doing his best impression of a Wall Street banker deep into a serious telephone call. Good to have you guys back. Ethereum, I think, pushing all-time highs. Word on the street is, anyways, I actually haven't looked at it yet. We've got Bitcoin just teasing under the highs. There's probably some news today that Rob can let you in on. I've admittedly been running around getting ready for this Solana conference coming up on Friday. So we're just going to dive into it. You know, sometimes we do on Fridays as well. We get right into it, organic style, looking at the charts. What can we find? I'm really excited to hear what Rob and what Messi have to say. What are you guys up to today? What are you looking at?
Hey. Not really up to anything. You know, it's just continuing to see convictions pay off and play out. You know, I added to my Avalanche bag yesterday. Yeah, I think that chart just looks fantastic, and you know that's paying you know really well right now. Farming with it against USDC.
Also added to Avalanche today. And yesterday.
But yeah, I mean, shoot, you know, the market looks good. The market looks bullish. You know, Bitcoin looks good. You know, you see these downside wicks that are just absorbed. You know, Solana looks good. I think out of all the L1s, you know, Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche are looking the best right now. That's just my opinion. Just in terms of chart-wise, I think in terms of all the L1s, just in terms of the fundamental metrics, you know, talking about growth, you know, user growth, talking about TVL growth, all that kind of things, I think Avalanche looks the best from that perspective. But I mean,
their
really,
TVL exploded this week.
Yeah, this is a great time in the market. You know, and look, don't like mark me as a pessimist or whatever, because I'm not a pessimist at all. You know, like everything we've been doing this entire year has kind of been building to this moment. You know, I do believe we are at the final stages of this bull market. Now the real question is from this moment, because I think, you know, before everybody's like, oh, he's bearish, you know, like, no, I'm fucking not. The next 2 months could be the defining months trading wise in your careers and in mine too. But the idea here is, you know, after that, is crypto, you know, have we shifted towards this new paradigm, towards this adoption cycle, or are we in for a really ugly 2-year bear market?
No.
I don't know if you guys follow Squeeze Metrics on Twitter. But they're the ones that they created the GEX Plus indicator. They're the ones that I don't know. Rob's making this fucking crazy ass face. But they're the ones, you know, they've been at the forefront of this whole, like, Zoomers have come in and they have turned the entire stock market into a fucking meme. If you look at all these stonks, they're just parabolic as fuck. They're trading like shit coins. And the thesis here was that all these Zoomers, you know, they came in and they ruined passive investing potentially for the next few years, you know. So what is the stock market going to look like over the next few years? You know, are we going to be seeing these extremely low volatility kind of bleed off conditions in the stock market? You know, everything kind of gets lame and boring, you know, more similar to 2000 to 2003. You know, or is this just going to keep going up forever? Whatever, I don't know. But my main question is, and we'll find this out, I think, in the next year, is Sue right? You know, or is this the super cycle or is it fucking not? You know, because, and I know you and I were discussing this yesterday, RT, like, it's really interesting just to look at this and to think about how much progress has been made. In 2017, everything was still a shitcoin. And the only way that you survived in this market was buying the shitcoin low and selling the shitcoin high. this is the first time in my trading career, in my crypto career, that I've ever been asking myself, you know, are there some like longer term viable investments here? Are there some growth assets, you know, that you can purchase, that you can hold, that you can, you know, benefit from, that you can govern, that you can share in their success? And I think the answer to that is yes. And I position myself for that. But it was difficult for me to stomach making that shift. And look, I might end up being the biggest idiot in the world. Like, I think that's still up in the air. But we are looking at a totally different crypto landscape than we've ever seen in the past. And I think only time will tell it. Because look, you know, after the .com bubble, like, you know, oh, you know, these tech stonks went up, like millionaires were made, people got wrecked, you know, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, from the ashes emerged, you know, the Googles, the Amazons, these giants, you know, the people that took large early stakes in these things like Amazon are some of the richest people on the planet today, 20 years later.
It's going to happen.
So with crypto, you know, for example, you know, my biggest longer term bet is Curve. So is Curve going to end up being something that's this game changing, like paradigm shift? And in 10 years, you know, are people going to look back and say, oh, you know, he was a large investor in Curve, you know, when it was really, really young and when it was really early? Or is that thing even going to fucking exist anymore? Like, I just don't know right now. So those are kind of the questions that are going through my head.
Let's give Rob. You know, Rob had this look in his face early on when you said your first comment, and I just was dying to hear what he's got.
No, listen.
Hit him. Come on, get in there.
I respect and appreciate the opinion of the crypto messiah as much or more than anybody here. I like to think I pulled him out of the binary thinking that we were going lower when we were 30,000. I'll take personal a little bit of credit for it. But
it was a group effort.
Yeah, it was definitely a group effort. But he brings up great points. The bottom line, like, pull up Avis stock. I mean, what he's saying about the stock market and memes, I mean,
oh, damn.
This is a car rental company, the same way that we've seen Hertz in bankruptcy moon. Look at that chart.
Holy shit.
People got absolutely carried out shorting this thing. And like, I'm sorry, Avis has a better chart than any shit coin out here. Maybe not like that Sandbox coin. That thing absolutely mooned. Obviously, SHIB, we've lived through that. But there is a weird. It's just a weird moment in time, and weird moments like this, I think you need to be ready for extreme volatility. Like, there's no question about it. You need to be ready for extreme volatility. But I do not think that Bitcoin, for instance, and I always kind of come back to Bitcoin instead of crypto, but I think crypto in general, I do not think we're anywhere near the top of the network value, total market cap, total network value, however you want to label it. I don't think we're anywhere near the top. Now, is this potentially another local top? It very well could be. You never know.
There's a weird. No, it's sound reasoning. You guys are both delivering sound reasoning, and Messi's asking all the right questions.
Yeah.
The broader market questions. You know, we've talked about this quite a bit. The cycle stuff.
We're trained to think that way, even before the Weimar, like that hyperinflation in Germany. Asset prices fucking mooned there before they went into like really rough times. We are in a really, really experimental place in global central bank monetary policy. We got that news about this taper, and you can see the algos in Bitcoin immediately smacked. Like, they just
that's what that was, right? The FOMC.
That was the algo, and there's top prop trading firms out there who have
bought it, apparently.
Yeah, they smoked it on the headline of taper because they think, oh, you know, Bitcoin sold, and that shit just got bought up, and it's like, did they read it wrong?
This is my problem well, not problem. This is my thinking right now, because I'm getting a lot of this like weird like disbelief, fear. I've got guys that I work with, we're long-term bullish, and they're looking at certain things and they're saying like, should we sell? Like, it's got to crash soon. Like, there's a ton of this stuff going on, and it's like this almost common sentiment. I mean, not maybe in every little trading pit. I know the apes are going hard in the pit right now. But like in all my circles, there's just a ton of this sense of like, let's get out now because we're up so much, or we're doing so well. Let's cut it. And there's nothing wrong with paying yourself after a good month, good week, good quarter, good year. But it doesn't. That's not what it's like when the market's topping. I've through the one that I've lived through, it's never like, hey, let's all get out together and kumbaya and we'll watch the bear market. Like that's like sell the dip shit. That's just my 2 cents. That's my like total, again, we're here, pure conjecture. I think trade the trend. The trend is up. That's the simplest way to put it but it doesn't make for good TV. So let's talk about it. But look, there's buy volume dominating all of this consolidation above this key high time frame level, right at all-time high resistance. Every excuse, tapering, all these little things over the last little while. There's a bid here. There's a strong bid here.
I think what you're saying like can point directly to the IQ distribution curve meme. You got the guys
middle curvers.
Middle curvers. No,
ready to top.
Watch the tapering. What are you talking about?
You can't go higher.
Look at the tape. This is ridiculous. But on the left, you've got, Bitcoin's going to the moon, and, to the right, it's like, well, hey, everybody's kind of talking about this and interested in this. I think if anything, Bitcoin has proven itself as an investable, very serious asset class. And, we've proven that, hey, the banks, everybody else, like you got front run. They're starting to realize this. They want a piece of it. And I think that's where this source of demand is coming from. This isn't ape driven. You don't have these guys, on TikTok or whatever. They're not making videos about aping into Bitcoin. They're just not. It's a different caliber and a different quality of investor.
It's a more mature market
buying Bitcoin right now.
Yeah,
guys, Bitcoin, it's pure math. Like seriously, I'm more convinced than ever that Bitcoin is going to be so much higher, probably higher than we can even imagine in 10, 20.
Fidelity predicted $100 million Bitcoin in 2035 today.
But guys,
and it's like 21.
People think we're bad for shilling our bad.
It's like 2,100 billion. It's like it's like $1 trillion market cap at that point.
I don't want to live in that world because what's the dollar worth if Bitcoin's worth $100 million?
It's hyper Bitcoin.
Costs $1,000 for a loaf of bread? Like, come on.
Well, everything could be hunky dory still. The bottom line is like, think about when you're farming, like, it is when there's something that's spitting off inflation, that's just, printing more, minting more, and dumping it on the people who are farming, that thing cannot keep pace with something with either no inflation or very low inflation. It just mathematically doesn't make sense, holding everything equal. And I do not think that mathematically we're going to, when it comes to central bank currencies, that they're going to be able to hold value anywhere close to Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is one thing it's proving is that it's going to be very rare to see a network evolution and launch as kind of pure and fair and we say decentralized as Bitcoin. I think it's going to be tough. And in terms of proof of work and in terms of this most secure compute power, I think Bitcoin is in the driver's seat there.
And I think all the knocks on it around cost and speed don't really matter to perhaps the type of investor or buyer who's looking to get it. Like if you've got billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, and you're just looking for that hedge on inflation, if you're looking for store value, if you're a gold bug billionaire, like come in and buy your Bitcoin. It's way faster and cheaper to transfer than gold.
It is literally
and it's cheap.
The hedge. It is the hedge. It's going to be the in vogue hedge. We're seeing Paul Tudor Jones, like that's the type of people that are saying this is the best hedge out there, period. And I think that is going to be the case. It ends up being this like credit default swap on sovereign currencies on fiat. Doesn't mean that fiat are going to default. It just means that the swap, the insurance, the hedge that people are going to buy, the value of that's just going to continue to go up. And there's only a limited amount of those swaps to buy. So I honestly, I think this narrative of it is the best hedge is going to continue. And you know what? It's playing out. Like, I feel bad for the gold bugs who didn't also allocate some of their hedge capital to Bitcoin, because you would think that this is the time for gold to perform for me, to act as the hedge.
Look at gold versus Bitcoin.
It's
this chart just hurts your brain.
Dude, every commodity on Earth almost has ripped face. And the one that we would like expect to perform it is literally as heavy as like a tungsten cube. It's crazy. It is.
Yeah, it's. I feel bad.
Gold's hard to store, hard to get. We don't. Our generation, we don't want gold. Everybody always says, and I just want to go back to I was at the beach 3 or 4 months ago with my wife and some friends. And I got into this conversation with some kind of surgeon, big anti-crypto guy. He tagged his buddy in, who pulled the, my son's he's a senior VP analyst at JP Morgan and Chase, and they don't just one of those guys, and he gave me his whole his son doesn't have Bitcoin or whatever, and honestly the answer to that is look,
cool story,
it doesn't fucking matter what all the boomers or whoever think about Bitcoin, because my generation truly believes in this. This is our chance to make it. This is
our generation is entering their savings and investing years.
This is literally going to be willed into existence, through that fact solely, because as we get older, as we make the policies, as we come into our own wealth, we're going to make the fucking rules. So it doesn't matter what you guys think right now, as long as we continue to believe that this is our chance at salvation, because one day it's us that makes the rules, and it's us that tells everybody this is the best shit, and this is what we believe in. I mean, simple as that.
What's sick is that it's not even just being driven by us and our generation. There's big money pushing this thing up and buying it and allocating to it. That is old hat, is old guard. The Paul Tudor Jones you mentioned earlier, Rob. There are, from the reports I'm getting, several sovereign nations that are accumulating Bitcoin right now. Several major corporations that are accumulating Bitcoin right now, none of which have publicly disclosed, all of which will soon. So is that our next leg? Is some of those announcements, they're driving the next leg? How expensive is too expensive? I think most people look at Bitcoin and they say, well, 65K, like that's awfully expensive. And I would agree. I think buying one doesn't feel as sexy, unit bias, as buying 1 million spell tokens or whatever else.
Well, how about buying 100 million sats? I think,
I love that. I retweeted that. Let's hear it.
Dude, unit bias, we are seeing it is real. We've all known that unit bias is real. I don't think there's anyone who can really argue against it. But I think, and we've seen it a little bit by Barry Silbert. We saw it a little bit by Jack Dorsey even. I think we are going to see this push, and it'll be somewhat coordinated. And I almost put at the end of that tweet, like, we got to talk to the CMO of Bitcoin, like who's the chief marketing officer. But I honestly believe that we're going to see this PR, this messaging towards sats, because if the people believe that, sat is the unit and it's starting to be like, well, I've got 100,000 sats. I got 1 million sats.
Yeah.
I think we're going to...
Well, that's kind of inevitable, right? You can't have $10 million Bitcoin and then what are you going to talking in decimals? Like, you're going to have a better unit to work with. Right. Like, I'm going to send you 0.0002424 Bitcoin. Like, that's just stupid. You're going to have to change it. And it's just like, I'm very curious when. I think your take was on point. And really, it's inevitable.
It's going to happen. And quite frankly, I think as Bitcoin supporters, we probably want it to happen. Because unit bias is real. I mean, it just is. And then you start saying, when does sat equal a penny, right? that 1 penny. And
Yeah,
that
$1 million Bitcoin, is that 10 or 1 million?
I think it's $1 million.
I think it's 1 million, but I could be off.
Yeah, I think it's
eight decimals.
Yeah, because there's 100 million sats in a Bitcoin. So
yeah, so the ninth is the million. That's the one. Okay, so yeah. I mean, I think it's inevitable. It's just a matter of time. Who gets to decide? When does that go down? Is it the miners that have to vote on it, or is it just going to be the zeitgeist? Is it going to be exchanges that have to relabel? I think there already was an exchange that did that, didn't it? Bitfinex or somebody? Yeah, they started labeling things in sats.
I think Cash App did. I mean, Cash App does it. They've done it for a while. You can flip between sats and...
Yeah, it's really just a matter of the culture taking over and saying, you know what, I would prefer to buy 20,000 sats right now because 0.0002 Bitcoin sounds like shit or whatever.
I've taught my kids. Yeah. I send my kids sats and they know sats and they're like...
ahead of the game. I love it.
Yeah, 100,000 Satoshis. Like, oh my God. I mean, it's just like... It's much bigger than saying, yeah, you got 0.001.
It feels so incomplete. It's a gross, it's like, I'm working my way towards 1 unit of something. Like, it really is, it's silly. Like in 2017, it was like, oh, XRP's cheap, so we'll buy it. It's stupid, but it's smart. Like, it makes sense. And if you understand it and understand what people like. I mean, I was thinking about this today. Trading is not as much about, look, coin X could be worth whatever, could be worth infinity, could be worth 0. It's all speculation. Get into the revenues and stuff. Okay, cool.
Yep.
But trading is really about understanding the narratives that we tell and will tell, understanding what people will think. And I was thinking about this with regards to things like my bags, like AVAX, ICE, and SPEL, and going back to that conversation around people saying like, the top's coming in, like, shouldn't we take some profit? Because, and I'm like, well, look, the trend is up. I still think all 3 of those particular bags I just mentioned are incredibly undervalued given where I think they'll be if they hit, even a fraction of their potential. Mm-hmm. So I'm not selling. And so it's more about, like I tweeted out this morning, AVAX is my favorite DeFi experience. It's the best place for me to do DeFi. And it's not even close. And people's like, okay, what about FTM? I haven't used it a ton, so that's fair. I liked FTM. It was okay. But my reasoning then is like when other people use it, they'll see that.
Yeah.
The horde is coming. People will get on there and they'll be like, holy shit. And I saw like 3 tweets this week of guys being like, I've never used AVAX. Where the hell have I been? I'm never going back to Ethereum. And so you see that energy coming. And then trading is, and positioning yourself is really just about spotting those things and positioning yourself for what you figure people will. And that was BNB for me back in 2017. I was like, holy shit, there's an exchange token that saves you fees. Like 100% of the users on this platform will buy this token because the bottom line is make money, and this token saves you fees. It's perfect and easy and obvious.
Yeah.
And then they burn it. So like that was the thesis on BNB, and it's been one of the strongest performers really through the entire bear market. I don't, I didn't hold my thesis bag very long. It was, but point being, you got to find those and you got to stick to them. I mean, look at the monthly on BNB. This is
that thing.
This is just nonstop. Never stopped. It had no bear market.
I mean,
holy shit, 562.
Yeah, they have the most real users in crypto, point blank. Like, there's no real arguing that. Binance is, they are the 800-pound gorilla in there. Rumors of them raising it like a $300 billion valuation just for, I think, the equity. And I don't even think that, who knows what their treasury of BNB is, but Binance is, they're the leader. I think the regulatory worries about them largely been shrugged off. Like, whatever it is, they'll have a fine potentially to pay.
Well, that's the thing. They're such big dick energy right now that they have the money, like the big banks, right? So what are they going to get sued? They'll be like, okay, well, we're going to throw you in court for $1 billion. Like they're not just going to get squashed. I don't think.
People love hating on Binance, but Binance was the best, most fucking awesome exchange in crypto, period, for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
Arguably still is. I'm sad. I'm getting kicked off in a few months. I finally removed the rest of my funds like a week ago. I don't even want to be near the deadline. I just want to be adjusted. But I'm sad. It was a nostalgic exit for me from Binance.
I'll tell you though, like my brother, who was a long-time trader, a pro, like on the floor and stuff, he's been trading on Binance US. He was like, God, this is just, he wasn't feeling it. He's like, this is unintuitive. I'm not. So I don't know.
That's Binance US. I actually haven't been there. Is it the same, just less liquid?
I don't know. I don't use it. I'm an FTX US.
Okay, so Binance US is basically their strategy for going after US users. It's very similar to FTX, and that they or maybe similar in some regards, but different, because I'm not sure what the FTX US umbrella is under. But Binance licensed its technology to to corporations, I don't know if they're shell corps or what, in several jurisdictions that were not going to be allowed to trade on Binance.com. And they licensed this technology to some kind of entity operator in the US. And it's my understanding, that it's totally different books. The liquidity is fragmented. Obviously there was a really nasty wick down to like 10K or whatever on Bitcoin and Binance US that a lot of people are laughing about.
Yeah,
maybe a week or two ago. But that's really all it is. They are very careful about what they list. You're going to have a reduced product offering. The thing is the way this space is moving, and this is why I think it's always going to be difficult to regulate this, at least under the existing frameworks. And this is why they really, really need to pay attention to creating some kind of framework that we all can grow and benefit from. This industry moves way too fucking fast now for regulators. We're in a space where we can have a DAO, and we can have a vote, and we can move 8-9 figures from a DAO and deploy that and put it into action within a week's time frame. Everybody, it's the regulators, like the way it's set up right now, like they can regulate whatever the fuck they want. And DeFi crypto is just a hydra. A new head will pop up, and this head is totally skirted around that. And, now they're scrambling to figure out, well, fuck, how do we regulate this too? How do we regulate
Well, Binance has moved countries how many times now? Like 3? It was Hong Kong or China, and then it was Malta, and then it was like, we're distributed, we don't have a headquarters. Like,
we've gotten all this fucking fun about regulators and this and that, and then, we got reports that the Biden administration, was talking about, how stable coins could transform the way that payments are made, and then we got the stable coin report, and it wasn't nearly as fucking bad as people thought it would be.
It sounded bullish. It was just more like their stable coins.
I think it's more just like, I wouldn't say necessarily bullish, but not bearish either. It's just more like, we know this exists, and we're going to try to figure out a way to develop a framework, to make this work, because it's not going away. And obviously, they let it go too far. If they were to come in and take really drastic, like horrific actions right now without doing a lot of research and due diligence, they could hurt a lot of people. And I truly don't think that that's the goal here. They don't want to hurt U.S. citizens. The United States is in an incredible position right now, where everything else is stagnant. GDP growth is stalled. Like, we have this ability to come in right now because of China, and because of China banning Bitcoin, getting all the miners out of the country. We can be the hub of the next wave of web-based innovation. I think that it's in our best interest to capture that, and have the Western world kind of be a thought leader in this space, to take a win. And I think that, there's people that know that. Why would they let that opportunity slip through their fingers?
They need a leg up on China.
That's a huge revenue.
There's a lot of documentaries I've watched, which is about as far as my research goes, so excuse my ignorance, that have talked about the rise of China, the GDP overtaking the USA, being the superpower in the world by whatever, 2030, 2040, 2050. And they've done an incredible job at pulling their country out of poverty and putting everyone in the workforce and getting, like China's done well by themselves, for themselves. The U.S. needs a leg up, and China's basically opened the door wide on a new financial paradigm and said, come on in. I think they need to move fast. I think they need to move aggressively, and they need to foster as much of this innovation as they can in-house before China decides to unban Bitcoin, which is the running meme now, which would be hilarious, and that would send us to 100. But side note, I watched, or listened to rather, a Joe Rogan podcast last weekend with a survivor from North Korea. Fuck China. That's all I'm going to say. It was such sickening shit that she reported going on in her country, her ex-country. And then I was listening to the whole thing saying, what can we do about this? And then it was like, yeah, but the whole world wants to help. But China's basically like, we have nukes and we like them. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Side note, fuck them. So yeah, let's outdo them with some Western fintech. Let's do something. We got to knock them down 10 pegs. Their human rights stuff is just
there's no question. Like, the cat is out of the bag. That this crypto innovation evolution it's not stopping, and the U.S. would be doing a major disservice to itself, to being a leader in technology and finance, everything. And I think they're understanding that. The first thing to do, obviously, which they're supposed to be most worried about is fraud, like protecting U.S. investors from fraud and investors anywhere. You do not want, your average Joe getting defrauded by scams. Fraud is the first thing to look at. Now,
shit! Look at Solana. Sorry.
Yeah, Solana's fucking moving. Yeah, I know. It's so just love.
Oh, what was that?
Love.
That's the sound that Solana makes when it goes into price discovery.
Yeah. Just love.
It's actually a running joke with me and the fiance. Every time we hear the word brisket, it's like Peter Griffin, just like, or no, I guess that's Homer Simpson. Anyways, that's now Solana's sound. What does that mean for Serum? And sorry, Rob, I'm such a rude dick. Somebody in the chat mentioned Solana, and you were talking about fraud. Is that what you were talking about? Like, kind of gets marks tops, like when a huge incidence of fraud's upsize.
No,
like
I mean,
that's the
that's
bubble
what
stuff.
the regulators need to worry about first. I mean, they need to protect against fraud. And there is, in Bitcoin, in some of the main tenets of decentralized finance, of crypto, there is so much going on that has nothing to do with fraud that they should not be worried about. And they need to really worry about fraud first. And I think that's what they're gonna do. But the bottom line is, I think the U.S. leadership understands that crypto, it doesn't matter what the U.S. does globally. The majority is going to embrace it and try to extract whatever value they can from it. All these little countries who are going to be progressive and pro-crypto, they're attracting capital, investment, everything. I mean, look what Sam Bankman-Fried's doing in the Bahamas. Like the Bahamas showed the willingness to really to give licensing and regulatory framework for crypto and crypto derivatives and stuff, and they are reaping the rewards from that, and many countries are doing the same. So also there's that idea of countries who actually take Bitcoin into their reserve, and let's say Bitcoin does rally significantly, those countries are going to have a little bit of edge rather than holding.
I was thinking about that. I read the Fidelity commentary about the 100 million. I was just thought, damn, if it really does go that way, and if you ask me where Bitcoin's going to be in 2030, I'd say really, really high from here. So I guess I think it is going to go that way. But I'm like, so where's El Salvador? Where's MicroStrategy? Where's, like, how is this going to just reprint the blueprint of like who's powerful, who's rich, and how does that affect the world geopolitics, whatever else? I think, it's going to be a shift. But I'd be shocked if there aren't some surprise countries that are putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. I know there's certain disclosures that eventually have to come out, but there's got to be some sneak attacks coming
because the game theory of it makes sense. Like,
why not slip 1% into it? Like, why not?
Thank you.
Don't be wrong.
It's not. I don't think you can afford to not do it. Honestly,
the risk of being out is greater than the risk of being tiny bit in.
All the tailwinds behind you of the generational aspect, like the younger people are embracing it. So guess what? As we cycle through the years, the older people are gone, the younger people are like, that is not a trend that I want to be fading. You want to be following that trend. And
it would be irresponsible, I think, as a nation to see a trend like this starting, to see how, shitty, like even the guys who like BS their way through monetary policy and maybe they know it's a bit of a fugazi and they're playing the game and they're desperate. They must have by this point looked into this and said, holy shit, there might be something here. We better get hedged. We better get on side with what might be or might not be. But like, make your bet, and it's an asymmetric bet. You don't have to go ham. 1% will save your day. Like, so I agree with you, man. And I think this. I mean, look at this chart. It's just moved sideways. It's driving people crazy for 2 weeks, but it's sitting on a launch pad. I mean, it's reclaimed this level that was resistance infinitely. I mean, really, the Coinbase listing gave it a little poke above, and that was the ultimate sort of peak. But this was a huge level, resistance, and we reclaimed it on strength, and now we're just chilling above it. And I don't even own that much Bitcoin. I'm more I'm more bullish percentage-wise on so many other things but this is a good, this is bullish on the market. This is bullish on all my bags. So
RT, this has actually been a very difficult kind of sea to navigate for even some of the best crypto traders to date. Everybody was very, very much positioned for Bitcoin dominance to rally, for like Bitcoin making this all-time high, this new all-time high, rotators out of your Bitcoin or out of your alts into Bitcoin, ride it, alts are going to get smoked. We saw a little bit of that to start. But then we saw the signs, and Messi saw it. He's like, wait, this isn't behaving how I kind of thought it was. And he publicly said it. I'm getting back into some of these alts because it's not doing what I expected. And quite frankly, it's not doing what we expected.
No, let's take a look at it. Yeah.
Have absolutely gone crazy here. But we also had Bitcoin that kind of chilled out. It's consolidating here. It doesn't mean that it's not about to go on a face melting rally where alts get smoked in Bitcoin terms. But
well, here's one thing. Technically speaking, and trend reversals take time, or at least bottoms typically. Tops often will come in real quick, like right here. But when you're consolidating after like a big drawdown and you're looking to reverse, it can take time. It can consolidate. And we talk about this all the time, the idea of gradually and then suddenly, right? So you're starting to trend up. Look, we put in the low, we put in a high, or excuse me, a higher low here and then a higher high. So this triggered a trend reversal back in June and then dipped into the reload zone after that, which is pretty standard. It's kind of where I like to long from against lows. Again, you can't trade this chart, but it's all, for the broader market. And then we just popped up, which is a really strong move. So this, was this a higher low, and then this is a slow trend that eventually ends in something much more accelerated. That's how it would go. So I don't think you can say, Bitcoin dominance is not going to rally now because it just hasn't for 3 weeks after that initial pop. Like, that was a strong move. And like you just pointed out, Bitcoin's consolidating basically at all-time highs, which it did at 20K as well for about 3 weeks right here. Yeah. Same thing, right? Get up to the highs, dump it down, right back up, just sideways, driving people crazy. And then it just went absolutely nuts. And that's what crushed, I don't know, actually, did that crush altcoins this year? I think altcoins kind of moved with it. That was right around here. Yeah. So how that affects dominance, though, I don't know, right? I mean, like we said, Bitcoin could rally, take a little dominance, and then alts rally right after. And then that's where you get this. This is the sexiest scenario where we just live in this range where as far as dominance is controlled while Bitcoin is rallying, because that is where you get Ethereum, sending off, and Serum and Solana and all the big names, and then a lot of the shit coins and the middle coins and apparently DOGE tokens. Yeah. So that's the sex. That's the good stuff. That's what we want. Is this to just stay in this consolidation range? That's what I'm hoping for. But this move above here got me a little shaken. But I'll tell you what I'm most bullish on, and I really want to hear from you this week, Rob, because every week we get a chance to see into your mind. You know, you do trade, so it's nice to be like, oh, what is on your radar, given how you see it. I don't think it takes a scientist to figure out that Solana and Solana plays are probably due for some action here, but that is actually where I'm looking almost entirely right now. As far as like if somebody says to me, because like so much stuff's already moved, right? It's like we're in a rally, gaming tokens, LRC. Like I hear people talking about all the stuff that's at its like all-time highs, pushing into the price discovery. Cool, you got a bag, great.
Yeah.
As a trader, I want to rotate. I want to buy something. Where do I look? I am looking deep in the Solana pool. I mean, look at FIDA just today. Holy shit!
Massive.
Just tagged $15. So like. I am looking through, maps, waking up, nice location, not overblown yet, whatever the hell media is. Like,
yep.
There's some names here. What are you seeing in the market? Mango's waking up. Oof. Oxy's moving.
I'll tell you, I tweeted something out the other day, and it seemed very, it seemed like a no-brainer to me, but Arweave, and I'm not...
Ooh, it's next on my list here. Ooh.
Yeah, don't just go ape into this thing, but... Sam Wildman, the founder of Arweave, and I've been a fan of Arweave out publicly, both on Twitter and here for a while. Like we had a chance to buy Arweave sub $10 after the main.
We talked about Arweave quite a bit. It was a weird one though, right? Low liquidity, not that hyped.
It's low liquidity. Yeah, you can only get it on Binance. Very hard for U.S. people to get, but the chart of its usage is it's exponential, and that chart, mind you, is related to NFTs, and it's a decentralized storage play, and the amount of NFTs that are being created, and then we start getting into video and just storage decentralized, it is only going to go up from here. So
I found it. Look at that.
You start seeing the see if you can go to the tweet that I retweeted the other day with the kind of the official stuff. But
love your punk, by the way. What is that? It's cute.
Yeah, that's a thug bird.
Okay. Sorry, sir. This is not a punk. This is a thug bird.
That is a thug bird, cool. Which So the other day, I mean. That is real growth. And, when I look at that, literally the minute he tweets that, I'm like, holy cow. And we knew it looked good, but I'm like, come on. Everything about Metaverse, everything about NFTs, everything there just leads me to believe that this decentralized storage is going to be in demand. So,
I think people have got to remember that too. The gaming NFTs is, that's the usage. So this might be like a sneaky Metaverse proxy.
It definitely is, because even with stuff not doing much elsewhere, like with the Metaverse plays ripping, this thing ripped 30% the other day, but it is like super illiquid. So it's like you have to, you got to try to buy it when you can, right? You don't want to chase this sort of thing, and you're buying it up into a wick, and you're just sitting underwater for a month. Yeah. So look at this. I had a chance to buy this wedge. I charted it, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago for us, and that was a strong response there. You'll have a chance to buy this thing, in my opinion, but like this was a pick and shovel play for the Solana kind of ecosystem NFT growth, because NFTs and Solana are just way more economical to mint and buy and sell than Ethereum. I mean, listen, I own Ethereum, but the experience right now, it's absolute garbage. Like, and anyone who asked me about it, like, and about using Uniswap or something, I'm like, I'm not paying $100 for a transaction. Like my dad, people like that. Like,
dude, I wanted to get some parallel cards off my buddy who minted some. I said, send them over, and it was going to cost him $700 to send like a pack of cards. Like, there goes my margin or whatever, I just said, hold on to them. I was like, I'll buy them off you, but you can just hold them, send them over in a few months or something. Cause it's disappointing from a user perspective. And like, I think we sometimes, we get the goggles on, you know, maybe we've been through DeFi summer last summer, like we just have a little bit of ETH, you know, I can afford to swap on Uniswap if I'm buying something that's like over 10K bag or something.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of people, they don't even want to go through Ethereum. Just to cross over Ethereum costs you 2% of your portfolio.
Right.
They can't touch it. You can't send them Ethereum. You can't send them a token on Ethereum. It's priced out, and we've known this, but it's starting to occur to me more and more as I talk to friends and family. They're just like, dude, you can't send me ETH. Like, I can't even get to ShakePay to get my money off into the bank because it's all, you know, Ethereum or Bitcoin, and those are all expensive. Like,
Right.
so L1, yeah, the L1 narrative is strong.
Wait, but I think it was either you or Messi who showed a snapshot of even an L2 transaction with a fee of $31 the other day.
Oh,
So apparently,
Twitter, yeah.
MetaMask had incorrectly calculated the dollar amount for that, but the actual fee was closer to $7. But still, you know, like L2, like what the fuck are we talking about? Like, you know, nobody wants to pay $7 for a fee. Nobody wants to pay $5 for a transaction. You know, what the fuck are we doing here? Like,
No.
oh, but
Yeah.
you know, as more people use it, you know, it'll be easier to fill up these blocks, you know, when we're submitting to the Ethereum L1, and, you know, the cost is going to come down. But I think this creates the chicken and the egg problem, you know, because, okay, sure, like as we get more users and more activity, we're going to get these fees down. But the problem is who's going to come, you know, what new users and new activity are, you know, who's going to come pay $5, $6, $7 for a transaction when I can go somewhere else right now and pay 10 fucking cents? It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
Which is why, you know, RT says AVAX is his favorite DeFi without a question. His layer one, Solana people love. I mean,
yeah, and I felt bad today. Like, you don't want to say like this is the best one, and then like people are like, what about this one? I'm like, I haven't tried it. You know, I haven't tried all the other L1s, but I'll tell you what, AVAX grabbed me. You know, it's I transferred, I bridged over, I got in. I was actually underwater. It's not like, oh, I went there and I was part of that 100x on Joe. Like, I was 30% underwater on a bag of Joe for weeks. Like, I didn't go there and make a ton, but I was taken by the fact that it was so smooth and fast, and then it's so close to Ethereum. If I need to bridge back, it's like one click. I like it. And even Solana, who's fast, cheap, whatever, I find them a little bit more buggy, admittedly, and the wormhole bridge throws me for a loop. The different tokens, you know, I like Solana. They're going to do well. But again, it just didn't quite do it for me. And then FTM is great. I mean, it was good in the time I used it. I went over to Spirit Swap. I think Spooky. I bought some ice. Like, it's easy. You use any swap, go back. It's fine. I just don't have a bag. So I'm not as invested emotionally in it, and I'm certainly not using it very much. So jokingly, I said on Twitter today, a guy asked me, he's like, what about FTM? I'm like, I don't know. I just don't have a bag. But I look at AVAX, and, you know, I just, the memes, the culture, the NFTs, I'm into it. It's my baby. And everyone I've talked to who goes and uses it is like, yeah, I'm staying. It's dope. And I just think that trend will continue.
Yeah.
And that could for Luna. It could for FTM, Cello. Like, there's a bunch of L1s. They're all fast. Secret. I love Secret. I mean, you know, I'm on Sienna. I'm LPing. I'm claiming rewards. It's like $1 for a transaction. Not super cheap, but it's private.
Yeah.
So, you know, just put that out there. There's a lot of promising L1s, and Atom is probably really dope. I mean, that's kind of the Cosmos like secret. I've got a few Atom bags or Cosmos bags. I don't actually have any Atom. I kind of want some. How are you doing with Atom? You were always kind of my local Atom bull.
I'm an owner.
Boomer.
I'm an owner.
Sounds like you got a heavy old bag over there. I'm an owner.
And I'm sitting comfy in it.
I'm 10x long on a million perps.
I'm not worried, but like, you know, you start to think, dude, we're in a hot ball of money thing here. Like, when I watch some of these L1s moon, I'm looking at Atom and ALGO have kind of been underperforming recently, and so names start to pop up in my mind. I'm like, okay, people are going to start rotating into those because this feels like a hot ball of money situation. First off, we've got as bright as the sun the meta plays right now are the hottest ball of money. If you look at Sandbox and what that thing did, look at Mana. Go to Decentraland, Mana. That thing had a moon the other day that was like
ridiculous.
It was stupid. But if you go back, I had a tweet from 3 years ago about these space needles that Mana had back in the day against like Bitcoin, and it was tremendous. I mean,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, before like these auctions for land and stuff, there was that mechanism where, those space needles were crazy, and it's like what happened the other day was insane. It was immediately following the Zuckerberg Metaverse whole thing.
Dude, within an hour of that, somebody had messaged me and they were like, buy Metaverse projects. And I was just like, haha. And I looked and they were all up 30%. I was like, cool, flavor of the day. I had no idea that they were going to go on 400, 800, 1200% runs for 2 weeks. Oof.
Crazy.
Stings a bit.
But
I've got some exposure. I want to do a video on the Metaverse in sometime in the next future. I'm going to Breakpoint next week, but when we're back, I'd like to do a nice feature video on Metaverse. Get into some projects, maybe talk to a few project founders because it is fascinating. And your boy Dorman, Jeff Dorman from Arca, he tweeted out something today, basically like how can you not be, or if you're not sure what Arca's investing in right now, what we're bullish on, check our Twitters for hints and. I'll find it right now. I might as well just show everyone what I'm talking about. But I thought of you. I always think of you when I see this guy dropping his little breadcrumbs. Where was it? Right here. It says, if you're reading between the lines with regard to where Arca's investing a lot of time, energy, and dollars, we're dropping a lot of hints, gaming, NFT. And then they kind of just show you, some hints about where they're at. And that's kind of where I'm at and where we're at with my fund as well.
There's a name that he likes that I actually think is probably a really, really strong risk reward here, and that's SUSHI. I mean, we know what happens usually after Ethereum pumps, and you look to some of the Ethereum blue chips or ecosystem plays. And SUSHI, I mean, honestly, it's been chewing through a lot of supply that became unlocked from the months of really rich farming.
Look at where all my fills were. Sad face.
Look, this might.
We're not dead yet, but I didn't get filled.
This might be a total middle curve take. But look, we had 0x Maki step down from SUSHI.
Yeah.
Look, you can get employees all day. You can hire employees, but it's very, very, very difficult to hire a leader and to hire a thought leader. To hire somebody that. Can not only for a DeFi protocol can not only lead your community, but can steer the protocol as well and be a voice in the decentralized governance. It's very difficult to find somebody like that. In addition, SUSHI's gone multi-chain, but SUSHI has failed to become the primary AMM on any chain that it's deployed to.
Yeah.
I think they're going to move. I mean, look at this chart though. This is the setup. Of this
I'm going to be
bull.
bearish on SUSHI, and maybe not
bearish.
Maybe bearish is the wrong word.
Being bearish has been really cool since basically March 12th. I mean, it's done nothing but go down.
I think bearish is the wrong word for SUSHI, though. I think a better way to put it is that SUSHI, there's an opportunity cost to it because there's other things that are going to significantly outperform. It's really interesting, though. When you see a technology like SUSHI and you see them go to Matic and Avalanche and all these other places, you have the incumbent exchanges there. I think QuickSwap on Matic and Trader Joe on Avalanche that are just eating SUSHI's lunch. And this is from a user perspective, a TVL perspective, a volume perspective. I mean, on all fronts.
What else are they doing though? Right? They've got the MISO, the mess. What is that called? The Launchpad
miso, baby.
Miso soup.
You like some miso?
I like it, actually. I'm a fan of miso soup. Look, if this leaves me behind for all the times that I just say, like, I'm just going to ape in, and then it comes to my PCZ, and I'm like, why didn't I just trade my plan? And I fucking stayed disciplined this time, and it broke out. Remember we talked a few weeks ago, I said, if this breaks out, I'm going to get an alert, I'm going to set the PCZ, I'm going to get long on the retest, which still might come. If this leaves me behind, I'm going on strike.
You know what we talk about all the time, RT. We talked about it at the end of last episode when you asked me kind of what I was looking at. And I do like setups where the asset I'm looking at is pretty far away from an all-time high or a level where maybe the rest of the market is already
the relative kind of
so like if they do catch some money flow, if a headline comes out where you might catch that quick 50%, 40%, 30%, 80% move where you can't even fuck it up, right? You can't fuck it up. You just like it just happens. So Sushi's still what? It's a 2x from all-time highs?
No, 75% to all-time highs now because we've just missed 25% of the move. But yeah, like not missed, but you know, it's happened. So it's I mean, look, it's a chart, it's a trade, it's a bull market, and it's a very popular, you know, swap DEX. I think, you know, Messi, you pointed out, it's not eating anybody's lunch, but it is everywhere. And it is, you know, I actually do prefer it to Uniswap when, you know, it's for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just seems faster or cheaper or something. But I do use Sushi. And I'm here to trade it. I'm not here to moonboy it. I think the trend, you know, the downtrend has reversed. I think I'd like to see a nice fat W on this side of the trend line, but I also just see a ton of consolidation. I see rising volume. I see this breakout. And this is the setup that has triggered so many major bullish moves in the last 2 months.
Look, if the whole market's going to be
Secret
bullish,
is a good example of that.
Sushi's going to be bullish as well. You know, one of the really interesting characteristics
Same trend line on
of these
Secret
DEXs is you have DEXs that get direct traffic. Now we're talking places like Trader Joe. We're talking places like Uniswap. And then you have DEXs that, you know, get the majority of their traffic from aggregators like Paraswap, like 1inch, like Matcha. You know, I think Sushi falls into the latter category of that. You know, I don't know anybody that's going directly to Sushi to trade, especially when there's better liquidity elsewhere, cheaper fees elsewhere. When we're looking at other places, you know, like Avalanche, like Matic, where people could go to Sushi and they could use that as their primary trading interface, it just doesn't make any sense to do that. Which is really interesting. You know, there's DEXs like Bancor too that kind of fall victim to the same issue, where the vast majority of any volume they get is just coming from an aggregator. And the fact that Sushi's main, you know, point of dominance is on Ethereum, you know, where single users could go directly to SushiSwap and interact with their contracts. I mean, no, these apes, these users, they're not trading on Ethereum anyway. You know, it's too fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
No, it's a good point. Like, I'm not really bullish on the thesis. I've seen this setup now working.
That's it. Yeah.
On CRV and on good. Secret, like when you get those big downtrends and then you get a volume breakout from it, it's usually like, okay, it's time to fuck, and it usually means, you know, chaos or fib extension or all-time highs.
I mean, just in terms of straight up charts, in terms of straight up charts, especially if we're charting it just versus USD, you know, I think it's more important to look at, you know, especially these DeFi 1.0 incumbents. It's more important to chart them versus Ethereum.
Oh, you will want to
if you're chasing. Yeah, I mean, look, they look really, really fucking bad.
Not outperforming Ethereum.
When you look at it versus Ethereum, but any kind of old DeFi 1.0 narrative has it's just totally been flipped on its head. Like they're fucked, you know. And unless it's something
at the
like
88.6
where
though.
You're getting all these curve wars talks and things like that, and there is no curve competition really, other than maybe Kyber DMM, you know. But Kyber DMM has even failed to kind of get the traction Curve has. Curve is going everywhere. And Curve has this whole, it's kind of deflationary now, lockup mechanism, and DeFi 2.0 narrative where everybody's fighting to control the Curve yield.
Yeah.
That puts Curve in a unique position. But Sushi, Aave, Balancer, you know, the old guard has been unseated. And we're seeing this, you know, and especially things like Aave, where, you know, if you'd asked anybody 8 months ago, you know, they would have told you Aave is the most revolutionary, biggest thing ever in DeFi, and institutions are going to use this and this and that. And now we're facing this situation where maybe, you know, having this cross collateralization in DeFi is a really fucking bad idea because it makes the entire platform vulnerable to exploitation. You know, you've got these DeFi 2.0 protocols like Abracadabra, you know, and others too now that are coming in with isolated risk-based lending. And that is the future. I mean, cross collateralization is cool. It happens on centralized exchanges. It's a very, very good thing, but you can't have this cross collateralization, in a world where, somebody can come out and take a $2 billion flash loan and steal $20 billion of TVL. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Speaking of bags, let's have a look at our bags. What's going on in Spelltown? Breaking out, pushing to all-time highs this week, just moving up. The thing about this coin that excites me is just that I don't feel the need to sell it. I'm not too in a rush.
This is the new Aave.
Yeah.
The thing is,
it just seems like it's going to grow. Like
back
as
at
a
the
system.
end of December 2020, I think Aave was around $30, and that shit just was strong as hell. It just kept fucking going. The TVL kept growing. People kept buying it. But we're seeing things like Spell, which could be the evolution of lending protocols in DeFi. Maybe something unseats Spell in a year, and Spell looks like old dinosaur doo-doo technology. I'm just not 100% sure. But one of the most interesting things about DeFi 2.0 and this new paradigm, even Spell, we're talking to Danny, and he's looking at DeFi and protocol development and pushing the space forward from a business development perspective, not just a pure DeFi nerd, coder perspective.
Yeah.
He's thinking about things like, why would somebody want to hold this token? How can we make this protocol as profitable as possible? How can we run this protocol like a business? Danny put out some tweet a couple days ago saying, like, for our VIP users on Spell, or on Abra, the people with a certain amount of money deposited, they're setting up VIP support channels. So where those people get white glove treatment and they get answers to their questions quickly, and they're taken care of. I think it's that kind of mentality that pushes this space into the mainstream.
Absolutely. I mean,
that looks good.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about your take on Bancor when you're done there, but like, just to wrap up on the Danny comments. Yeah, we had that interview yesterday, and every time I hear him speak, I'm just feeling a little bit better. I was just feeling a little bit better. I just love the guy, and every time he speaks, I learn something. So, talk about market makers yesterday was incredible. What do you think about Bancor? There's V3 Keo Darks asking in the chat. He says, RT asked Messi if he knows anything about Bancor V3. What do you know?
I don't know too much about Bancor V3, other than, the last time I looked, which it's supposed to be a giant leap forward in yield capture, capital efficiency, et cetera, et cetera. Bancor has some of the smartest, best developers in DeFi, period. That's undisputed. These guys are innovators. They think differently about things. But Bancor's downfall is that these guys they move at a snail's pace. And in an industry where everything is moving so fast and innovation is occurring, at the rate that it is, you cannot afford to move that slowly. It just doesn't work. So they've got this Bancor V3 thing, which is supposedly a big deal. But when, let's say they finally do get this shit out, and it is incredible, but it comes at the end of December. And let's say that the market's topped out then. Does that ever get the chance to get the attention that it deserves to capture this influx of users while they're here? Maybe not. But once again, Bancor, another issue, not prioritizing multi-chain. You've got a massive opportunity here to go multi-chain, and Bancor is really, really good at one thing, and that's giving liquidity to all these DeFi protocols. The protocol Bancor itself is going to put up the other side to the LP. They're going to offer you insurance against a permanent loss, so that's a huge innovation. They solved that issue right there. But there's a lot of up and comer protocols in DeFi on other chains that can't afford the liquidity mining. They can't, that don't have that liquidity. And liquidity is the basis for everything's success. Nobody wants to come in and buy something with $200,000 of liquidity. It just doesn't work like that. Oh, hey, with Bancor, we could just have your people deposit, stake. We'll throw up the other side, and now you've got $10 million of liquidity, and that's very admirable. That's a great starting place. It allows people to enter and exit and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, if you can't push fast, you can't innovate, you can't be on other chains, you can't capture that, somebody else is going to do that. And you're already kind of seeing that with, you've got Wonderland, which has Powerful, and that's their launch pad where they're going to allow projects to come in, launch a DAO in a box for whatever you're trying to do. They're going to help you out with biz dev. They're going to help you out with liquidity. literally fucking everything, using the Olympus DAO model, to start out. You're also seeing, new innovations like Tokamak, which is a kind of a liquidity director in DeFi. You're seeing DeFi 2.0 narratives with Curve to where, hey, if we bribe and old flame of mine, MTA, massive PTSD, I'm not going to touch it again, but it looks really, really good. And let me tell you why. They're one of the few people, and more is starting to catch on, that realized, hey, and this is how Abracadabra rose to power. Hey, I can come in, I can utilize Curve, and I can utilize bribes, and I can steer liquidity towards my resources, to blow up our protocol's TVL, for our users. And with Curve V2 coming, you're going to be able to steer liquidity towards your own native governance tokens. They're paired against TriCrypto.
MTA is waking up here today.
Yeah, there's so many kind of different solutions to this liquidity problem now that Bancor may be losing its edge in that regard. So once again, it's really about how fucking fast can you pivot? How fast can you get this shit out here while still being responsible, while making sure your users are protected? If you can't move fast, then, we don't know how much fucking longer this bull market is going to be here. Maybe it's over in 3 months. Maybe it's over in 6 months. Maybe it's over at the end of November and catches everybody off guard. I mean,
maybe May, June, and July is the new bear market, and we're going to see them. We're going to see them every other quarter, and that's just it. There's no 2-year wasteland.
I'd come really, really hard, But the thing is now is there's so many different ways to kind of solve this issue that Bancor, was originally addressing. Maybe not necessarily the impermanent loss component. But then again, impermanent loss is kind of a boogeyman. It's not as bad as people say. And, with innovations like Olympus DAO and Powerful from Wonderland, if the protocol owns the liquidity, the protocol's basically, selling on the way up and buying on the way down. It doesn't really fucking matter if there's impermanent loss or not. They're not chasing a profit. It's just there. It's liquidity. And that liquidity provides people the opportunity to enter and exit. But anyway, it's just like, I don't know.
There's a lot of sauce in the market right now. Sorry. There's people in the chat here asking, MTA. First of all, can we get a reminder on MTA? Because you brought it up today for the first time in months, and I think it's making its best bid to be at the bottom.
So MTA
is one I stayed away from. I traded it once or twice, lost money, but
is the best way to think of it.
Look at this
you can
volume,
deposit your liquidity into their MUSD and then deposit that for IMUSD, which is an interest-bearing version of their dollars. And I think they also have Bitcoin and some stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. But the issue with MTA is, their original pool design was fucked. And they had this idea, and it's interesting because Olympus Zeus, was talking about kind of creating MTA all over again. He didn't realize that this has already been done and it wasn't successful. And he and Hayden were going back and forth, Hayden from Uniswap on Twitter about it just a week or two ago. But the original concept behind MTA was, hey, we're going to allow a one-to-one stable swap. Now, the issue with that is stable coins aren't one-to-one. So you'd end up having these people that arbitrage stable coins out of the pool, and then the entire system would halt because the limit on a certain asset would get hit, and then no more trading could occur on the pool, right? So MTA realized hey, that's a fucking huge problem. The issue there is, they were trying to be a Curve competitor, but Curve was faster. Curve got more traction. Curve got more market share. And by the time MTA had an answer to the Curve stable swap, it was game over. It was too fucking late. It had left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It had just kind of floundered around and not done anything.
Still only 28% circulating too. So there's that inflation stuff might still be haunting it.
Big inflation, that's haunting that. I think protocols once again are focusing on that, being investable now, being these growth assets, rather than just, hey, let's get a bunch of VCs in, let's emit a fuck ton of tokens. These guys are just going to be dumping on you for 4 years straight. It's a paradigm shift in the way we think about all these things. And look,
I think you got to realize that in 4 years,
top tier, but it's just not going to work. Curve already has captured that market share for the stable swap. So MTA's best position now, I think, is a really easy to use savings account. And if they really want to grow, and I don't know how they're going to do this, they need to market themselves that way to these new retail participants that want to come in and want to deposit their $10,000 and make 10%, 15% APR.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that chart, if ever before I'd be looking at it now. I'd be interested now. If somebody was like, "Oh, I'm super bullish on it," like this is probably not the time to give up on it. Big buy volume coming in today off the lows. Rob, as we get to the top of basically an hour and a half here, I want to pick your brain a little bit. Last week, did the obligatory. What are you seeing? What's in your bag? What's on your radar? You talked about Theta. And like 2 days later, it broke out. It looks like it's just coming in to retest this this level you can kind of see here as support. So I think Theta looks okay. If anything, it's kind of confirmed now that it wants to move up. I think there's something to be done here. I'll tell you what I actually traded. And again, this is not like, hey, come on over here and let's see what Rob has and let's all copy trade him. But I love hearing your takes. And if I can find a setup that fits my trading plan, but it's on your radar and you help me get, it's on my radar. I don't buy half the stuff we talk about on the show, but last week, we talked about Rune. That was
gold. That was
yeah. I mean, it was just coming into this like bullish retest on this big level here. And I did go and pick some up and I haven't sold it yet. I don't think I will just yet, but it's a nice trade so far. What's on your radar this week, Robbie?
Yeah, there's
no pressure.
I know. I'm looking at a lot. I don't want anyone to really. My time frames are so vast and varied on some of this stuff that you got to take it all with a grain of salt and just know that at any time all this shit could nuke. But
you know what? I'm going to cut you off right there to help you with this disclaimer. Messi, you said something on Twitter today that resonated with me when a guy asked you about basically copy trading you essentially, and you said, look, if you want to take Messi likes it and put that in your basket of reasons to take a trade, but it's one indicator.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And the idea as, and I always say the same thing too, it's kind of the TRI methodology. You want multiple reasons to take a trade. You want to see location, you want to see divergence, you want to see structure.
The thing is, look, like our RSI is probably one of the best, like most time-tested indicators out there, but if I kind of start thinking to myself, and the biggest thing that happens to noobs, especially like when they get into trading, is they think that these indicators are like magic and they like predict the market.
Yeah. Every time RSI hits 70,
then I do this or I do that. But you've got to view not just me, but also Random Task, Rob, any influencer out there. You've got to view them like an RSI. And some indicators are better than others. But if you just trade purely off RSI, you're not going to be profitable. If it was that fucking easy, then everybody would just get rich, and it's not that fucking easy. You've got to use these indicators as points of confirmation, and that's for the best guy, the worst. I've had awful slumps in the past, and I have amazing winning streaks, and I'm sure I'm going to be having an awful slump at some point again in the future. That's just the way it is. So Messi likes it, RT likes it, Rob likes it, any influencer likes it, whatever. It always just has to be one of many reasons that you take a trade.
Yeah. And if you don't wrap that action you take with risk management and all that other stuff, you're screwed. If you just decide I'm just going to copy trade and I'll wait till that person on Twitter tweets again to say that they've exited, you're underwater. You're late. So I want to put that out there because I did kind of set you up to be like, tell us what to buy, Rob.
Here's one of the things, and this is coming from a guy like I grew up, I was a professional market maker in the options space. I gained alpha and insight on the market by staring at time and sales and staring at trade logs for hours and hours a day. So I'm used to looking at trades and prices moving and volume. So I really lean on, and this is non-quantitative, this is like me gut feeling, I lean on a few watch lists that I set up in TradingView. I love TradingView. Shout out to TradingView. Yeah, they just raised a round at a massive valuation. And I mean, TradingView is just rock solid. But I have noticed a few little hiccups in the TradingView app, and it's using a little more memory lately, and it's fucking me up. So TradingView devs, something's brewing. But
it's called Crosby.
Yeah, we should. But there are I love it though. It's my go-to. So I've got an alt USD watch list, and I literally check it all day. If I'm at my computer, I'm looking at it. I'm seeing how things are moving. I'm seeing what's red, what's green on different days. And literally, after doing it for so long, it gives me signals that I'll act on. I shit you not, the other night, my kid came in our room, woke us up in the middle of the night. I was up for a while. I looked at my watch list to see what was doing. I got a hunch. I was like, you know what? Based on everything that's going, I think SUSHI's about to get some flow. And I bought SUSHI at 1 a.m. and woke up and it was 80 cents higher, which was like a 6-7% move. And it, that doesn't happen often, but it's like looking at one coin relative to others, it just gives you a gut feeling and you go in. Now we're living in a world of quantitative analysis where models and the really gigabrains are doing like the real deal modeling. I'm going off gut and off a boomer who used to have to watch with my eyes and act. But like, I will tell you, and I shit you not, like what caught my eye in the last 6 hours of today in my watch list was Ripple XRP, and I have not.
Stream's done. Shut it down. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, but I have not. I didn't buy any more. I own a bag of Ripple mainly because I kind of think that whenever we do hear news about their SEC lawsuit and however that happens, I think we're going to see a bullish reaction. So I want to have a bag for that. But like Ripple's quietly rallying. And
it is actually. I'm noticing that now. The nice volume just came in overnight. Yeah.
So like it's just it sparked a flag in my mind. It's something that's on my mind. Did I go and buy any more today? No, I didn't. I have, to me, it's harder for me to buy stuff that I really don't believe in the use case and just more
the conviction.
When there's something that like Solana where it's setting up and I'm seeing the signals and I fucking believe in it and I live it every day and building
use it.
Yeah, it's easier. It's like with AVAX. Last night I bought more AVAX at 69 and change because I had this feeling like there's flow here. There's like
and L1s are all in price discovery. Where's AVAX? And they just announced 220 million from like big funds. Like they're gonna build, they're gonna grow. And I think 100 is pre-programmed, but when?
I agree.
How many dips before? Can I leverage? Probably not. I'm not touching that. But I'm with you on that. I did add some AVAX this week, but not enough and not where I should have. But hey,
here's my second derivative of Ripple, because if I was going to go buy XRP right now, I would actually probably go buy Stellar Lumens XLM.
Yeah.
And so
I've been playing around in Stellar this month.
If I was going to go buy Ripple, these two tend to go in sync. I personally believe like Ripple's got more headwinds, because the valuation's crazy, and they got Jed McCaleb getting this faucet of Ripple that he just fucking slams in the market all day long. So if I was going to kind of take a shot in Ripple, it probably would be split between that and Stellar. I'm not doing it right now, but that's something that's
a good look. I mean, they're Dino coins, right? They're kind of thought of as the Dino coins. They were around in the 2017 bull market. They made a lot of people a lot of money. They're super liquid. There's lots to love about them from a trader's perspective. There is buy volume ticking up here at the lows on the daily for XLM. I think XRP similar. Yeah, it's not a bad look. I think it's a place I can look for a trade. It's at resistance now on the daily. I think this dip in here would have been so sexy if I was, just like SUSHI, I said, like, I'm going to set my bids. It happens so often. And now obviously I'm set on SUSHI. I feel like I'm not going to get hit. But if we get a really ugly overnight some night during this week or weekend, like that could be me filled on SUSHI.
And we're
like
also,
XLM.
We've got this second order derivative, which, and this is more towards Ripple and not Stellar, but it feels like we're in this time when scams pump the hardest. And I'm not saying that SHIB and these dog tokens are all scams, but it's like it's in this, like, not fraudulent scam, but it's in that bucket of what
do you do? What are you doing? Why are you valued so high? I heard about SHIB on the radio the other day. I don't listen to the radio, but I caught something. I heard the word blockchain. I was like, what's going on? And it was just like this silly like pop radio show, and she's like telling the story about the guy with the 8K that he bought in SHIB, and it's worth $5 billion. And the takeaway of the story was like, so make sure to go check your wallets. You might have $5 billion in there. And I was like, oh dear God, like this is. But that's what's reaching the masses. That's what's reaching, And then our buddy reported the other day. He's like, I'd had 3 people reach out to me independently today and ask if they should buy SHIB. Because that's what's hitting the news line, right? And it's interesting. So you can't ignore that penetration. You can't ignore ADA and things like, who was it on Twitter the other day? They said, without fail, every time I talk to somebody who's non-crypto, they start by saying, should I buy ADA? Should I buy XRP? Then they get into Bitcoin and ETH in that order every single time. And it's like, why? Why is that? How did they get into the mindset? It's crazy.
Right. No, it is absolutely crazy. So
but XLM's a nice dark horse here. What's your other one?
Yeah, no, the other thing is something we brought up earlier. I do think we could see the laggards of L1s, like we talked about ALGO, we talked about Atom, and only laggards of recent. These things have gained tremendous value over the last several months. This is a shorter term calibration we're talking about. It's really like day-to-day relative value and relative performance. So like ALGO's already up 4.5% today. It was down in the dumps, 48 hours ago. It really was it's been blah.
ALGO's sitting on a launch pad. I mean, it's a daily chart. This thing's been sitting around since September, but look at this.
I know.
Like, where does it go from here? What is it? Oh no, it looks like a top. Like it looks like Matic. You know what it looks like is Matic after Matic's first leg. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. And I don't have a bag of this. I'm not here to say go buy my bag. I probably should after I keep looking at it. It looks like Matic right here, where you had the first big breakout and then just sat in the PCZ for like a month doing nothing. And you're like, well, is that it? It's going to bleed out. And then it just exploded. That is what Algo looks like right now.
Yeah. And it's the bottom line is we can go and look at the ETH BTC chart because we spent a lot of time on that last week. We were all thinking like, listen, we saw the Bitcoin futures ETF get approved. We saw the launch. It's really launched pretty seamlessly. The Ethereum futures are already listed on the CME. They announced they're going to list the Ethereum micro futures, smaller size.
Thought of you when I saw that the first thing.
Yeah. I think we can expect probably.
It's happening.
Yeah. So, but like we said last week, I mean, I'm still more bullish of other layer ones than Ethereum, but Ethereum rallying, I think, is very positive for your other layer one.
For everybody, yeah. For every altcoin in the world will be getting a bid, or at least having a better chance of catching a bid if Ethereum does its thing. Yeah. That's the sexiest part of this market is when Ethereum rallies against Bitcoin. And we haven't seen it since the big altcoin rally of this year, right? Up until May, and then it peaked, and we haven't really moved out of this range. Oh my God, Rob, if we move out of this range with ETH versus Bitcoin, forget about it. Altcoins are going to go fucking mental.
That's why we can't, as a crypto guy, as an altcoin owner, I will never hate on it. I want Ethereum to perform because
I just don't want to use it. I'll store it as it's a storage of value, and it's a bridge to get me from L1 here to L1 there, because they all bridge to Ethereum. They don't all bridge to each other. AnySwap's pretty good with that. And there's some other ones coming out, but this is also why, and we should get, we're getting to the hour and a half. This is also why I have a hard time thinking about is it a top? Look, there's going to be nukes. There's going to be OI wipeouts. There's going to be gross 30% drawdowns that last for 2 or 3 weeks, even if we're in a big, strong bull. For sure there will be. I'm not leveraging up. But I have a really hard time looking at this chart. Looking at this chart from Bitcoin. Looking at every chart we've looked at today and just being like, oh no, it's the top. Like, this looks bearish. Because that's really what I'm asking myself, right? Sure, yeah. Skim some off, take some profit, pay myself as a trader. I should, and I do. But when I'm calling tops, when I'm saying get out, it's a bear market after December, it's a bear market into next year, 2 years, all those things, what I'm really saying is, where do I want to put my money? I want to put my money into bullish trends. I want to put my money into long friendly situations. We're in one, period.
Yeah.
Period. And it's not going to reverse overnight, and it's not going to reverse in a week. It's going to take weeks to confirm a high time frame reversal of this trend, and I'm here for it. And so the next person that comes up to me and says it's gone up a whole bunch, should I just exit completely because it might dump? It's not how you do it. It's not how I'm going to do it. But having said that, and just to disclaim my rant there, I'm paying myself along the way. Absolutely paying myself. I'm stacking some cash. I've got my dry powder. You know, like, I'll be okay either way, but I am absolutely keeping the foot on the gas here until the trend is not fucking extremely bullish looking. Which to me it is.
I'm with you. Another thing, because someone wrote it in the chat. They wrote, where is he? Tom Foster, FTT looking to finally end the eternal blue balls. I will say that there was some stuff.
Eternal. You
know, FTT, I'm a big believer in FTT, the FTX exchange.
Well, it's moving today.
Ours. It's been, you know, just the left brain, every part of the curve will tell you that this is something to own. But it's something we always talk about. Messiah has said it, that Sam used the FTT token to buy a lot of stuff over the years. And
hundreds of millions of dollars of stuff. And
also, CZ was the early investor in FTX and got tokens and equity, and you know, you're chewing through that supply. You never know what, you know, micro structure in the market is affecting price.
Look, like, that's the dream, right? You know, Sam did that. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, the dude created his own money and used that to grow an empire. You know, I would imagine that CZ did the same. Now, the differentiating factor between FTT and BNB is Binance Smart Chain. You know, Sam's put his full weight behind Solana. And FTT and Solana, I mean, there's really no, that I'm aware of, synergy there. They kind of exist independently of one another. Whereas with Binance Smart Chain, you've got the same situation, CZ, who probably bought a ton of shit with BNB and used that to grow his empire. And now you say, okay, well, I've used BNB to pay for all this shit, you know, but I'm going to offset this supply in the market by taking a lot of the supply off the market through Binance Smart Chain, through people going to BSC, you know, locking up BNB as liquidity. You know, I think that BNB just had more balance in that regard. Now, that doesn't mean FTT doesn't moon. You know, it's the Sam coin. You know, if there was ever a Sam coin, it's FTT. And I have no doubt that as FTX continues to grow, FTT is going to go up too. But
look, Solana
there's always going to be that dark cloud.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's a good point between the two.
I think this thing's going to moon. I think.
Look at it. I was just about to say, it looks like Blue Balls is about to go. You know, I don't know that I have a setup that I can use to find entries and, you know, exits and all that with these wedges, but I like to put them on the chart because it works. It compresses, it's compression, it's consolidation, and then it pops. And when you find where you can capture that consolidation, often you can grab, you know, an idea of when it will pop. You know, like if this was like in the middle here, I'm not too excited about it. It's like, maybe it won't. But here it is right at the edge. We're getting in. It looks ready to go. And
it's
then, of course,
a good trading vehicle too.
Yeah.
Like, it trades, and there's usually some liquidity there. And
yeah, people watch it, so you can watch it. And if I'm not a breakout trader, but you know, you get a nice trend line, you get a retest. Like, point is, Solana is just blasting. It just about hit 250 just now. So what are people doing now? Like right now, where is the world going? Let's, you know, trying to predict human behavior. They're going to, first of all, probably ape into some Solana. They're going to buy that high. They're going to look for what is Solana's number 2, 3, and 4, you know, Radium, Serum, FIDA. And then they're going to say, like, who is the big granddaddy Solana? That's FTT. That's Sam.
Well, you know what's really big right now for Solana? The fact that USDC, which hands down, especially in the US, like I believe it is the leader in stable coins, and I think that they are, you know, Jeremy Allaire is a sharp guy, and he is one of the biggest public fanboys of Solana because he knows for USDC, Solana is the savior. USDC on Ethereum is for all intents and purposes broken right now. You cannot send that shit.
You can't pay someone. Yeah.
It's just dumb.
It's very liquid on Solana. I noticed. It's the one. It's where I use my USDC. Yeah.
I think we're gonna see, like, honestly, USDC on Solana, I believe is going to be one of the bellwethers for it's just flat out USDC transactions. I think that there's a lot of stuff cooking up with that. I think Jeremy Allaire at Circle he's ahead of the curve.
He's a rapper now.
Read it. You can read it. He says it. He retweeted something the other day about Solana and USDC. It's like you're getting those vibes that, okay, something's brewing. And I think they're really being helped by the fact that fees on Ethereum USDC is just, it's.
Wait till friggin' Abra and Mim come over to Solana. You know, Danny said yesterday in his interview, excuse me, that they've hired 5 Rust devs. Yeah, I joked. I said, I think you hired 2, right? He's like, no, I don't want to build it next year. I want to build it like yesterday. So Abra and Mim are coming in hot to take fire from USDC. It's going to be a great battle to watch.
Yeah.
We are obviously super bullish on all things, Abra, Ice, and Time, and all that good stuff. You guys have heard it here before. Look, you've mentioned your kind of things you're watching. I think FTT has got to be on my radar, given that my whole thesis right now, if I'm looking for new positions, is Solana-based stuff. So I'm going to end off with probably my biggest trade bag right now, which is, I don't even know. Oh no, it's mooning. Yes, but not a great time to rushing into this. But nice buy volume today on Serum. This is one that I've been talking a little bit about on Twitter.
Ooh, look at that volume.
Yeah, I circled this morning. I said sick 4-hour bar to a buddy of mine. I was like, I think it's happening, and
I love it.
It's like how does Serum not run when Solana's in price discovery? It's the number 2. It's the primitive over on Solana. That was my thesis. So yeah, maybe not that sexy, but let's look at what is not gonna run on Solana. That look at friggin' Ray's taken off today. Somebody actually told me, maybe this is my off I can share today. Somebody told me recently on Twitter that you can pool or stake or farm with Ray and Serum as a pair, and because as a pair they're kind of they move up and down together. I thought that's kind of cool. If I'm just going to be long on Serum and Ray, I can get like 40% ROI, maybe on Tulip. So shout out to whoever shared that with me on Twitter. I haven't actually done it yet, but I'd like to. I have some Ray.
I heard some good buddy of mine I see said there was a real juicy like USDC USDT pool on Radium. It was either this morning.
Might be. There's some good ones. Yeah, there's one on Joe too. The farm came out. I was farming that for a bit, just as far as like where to hold my stables. I think it was like 18%. Not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I think. Are you thinking about Alan? No, that was Solana. He was talking about like Sol. It was like a Sol pair, like something wrap Sol and another Sol, and it was like 87%. He talked about it, and then everyone shit in his pool, and it was down to like 40. He's like, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to studio.
Well, one other thing, we've got to talk about it because it's an L1 that's had a fucking phenomenal week, and that's Polkadot. We've got to talk about it because this thing is it's caught the hot ball of money, and that thing looks. The only thing that doesn't look great on this is the volume looks like it's not quite as strong as it could be or it was, but you never know. This is one exchange. No. Oh wait, I think you're muted, bro. I think you're muted, bro. People are wanting to hear what you're saying.
Oh no. Yeah. How long have I been muted?
That's just since we started talking about Polkadot.
Oh, you know what it was? Yeah, my bad,
we
guys.
went back to the other.
I set the set and it had anyways. I managed to trade myself out of my dot bag is I guess what I was going to say. But the TLDR there was that I'm not really bothered. Things are just going so swimmingly right now in the market. I can't care if I miss one or the other. But as a thesis play, if someone said at the start of the year or during the July thing, like, you know, if a buddy calls me and he's like, I just want to put some money, I would have said DOT. DOT was pretty much a dunk. But in the L1 world, it's been really quiet. So it's nice to see it in price discovery now.
It's got open air above, doesn't it? Look like it.
The Mutor. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, settle down, chat. The Mutor. That's my move. I don't know why I ever click mute, but there we were.
Yeah.
So, DOT, Solana, I mean, take your pick. Price discovery is upon us. And I will just end with this. Trends accelerate. So we are either heading into another leg in the market that would be an echo or perhaps an extension of May mania.
The third leg, right?
Well, depends what you're looking at. I mean,
gotta be about that third leg, bro.
Okay. And if we are headed into that next leg, this should be the big one. If you're thinking about LA waves and all that cycle stuff, all I'm going to say is I'm not rushing to pay myself, even though the profits are good, even though a year ago I'd have been like, what do you get the hell out of there? You know, like secure the bag. I'm doing some of that. But this is like ETH just breaking into price discovery after what, 3-4 months of reaccumulation. This is Bitcoin just pushing into price discovery from 4 months of reaccumulation. There's definitely some alts that are way out of buy zones that are in probably chaos. But trading the trend is your friend. Letting my winners run. Come on. How often do you get this market? And I'm going to go sit in cash?
I know. It's literally the greatest.
I'm going to pay myself, but I'm not. You know, I'm long and strong. So anyways, guys, it's been fantastic having you guys all here today. If you haven't already, you can hit the like button.
Yeah,
show
smash
us a little
the
love.
like button. We got 280 people.
Smash it.
With us. Hour and 45 minutes in. Smash that shit.
We had a good run today. You know, it's really a rare treat to sit at the desk, you know, in a market like this with a crowd like we've got here on the panel and all you guys out in the audience. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming today. And let's enjoy this, guys, because no matter where we go in 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 1 month, there's going to be fear. There's going to be extreme fear. There's going to be drawdowns. There's going to be shitty days. It's just part of cycles. It's part of human psychology. So let's enjoy. Let's have a little gratitude, and you know, keep your shirts honestly, on. Yeah, keep your shirts on.
One of the greatest markets of all time. I mean,
it really is.
You don't have to hold everything. You can trade this stuff. You can do both. You can hold. You can trade. You can do a little bit of both. I mean, the stuff's moving around. Just, you know, make sure that you always are in the game.
Yeah.
Stay in the game. Don't get ejected from this game. It's the greatest game on earth.
Don't try to make it tomorrow by leveraging up and risking your whole stack. That's something I'll just never do. Just, you know.
Yeah.
Stay frothy, fellas. Whatever you do from now until next time, always play from a position of strength. Take care, guys.
See you guys.